Patzcuaro. This tiny town in the heart of Mexico, you can practically hear the whispers of ancient stories every single night. My abuela, bless her heart, would always be like, "Watch out for El Cucuy, that creepy shadow that goes after all the bad folks." Let me tell you, her tales really stuck with me in a strange way, in a haunting way. This story that I'm about to tell you is personal. It isn't about whether I believe in legends. It's actually far, far more than that. Everyone knows the story of El Cucuy. My abuela always said, El Cucuy is no fairy tale. Her voice serious. It's a lesson for the wicked. It can be anyone. It shifts. It blends. It can be hiding as someone you might know. And when he finds you, the naughty one, he'll eat you and eat your soul. Sure, the sound of this boogeyman scared me. But, to be honest, not as much as the bullies at school. You see, school had always been hell for me. It felt like a constant battlefield with bullies at every turn. My only escape was in the quiet of my room. So, to cope with it all, I would jot down their names of every bully in my journal, creating a never-ending list of tormentors. Each night, I would leave the journal by the window, hoping that somehow, magically, El Cucuy would find them and make things right. I would silently pray, begging for justice. But sadly, every morning, my list remained untouched and wish remained unanswered. As years rolled by after grade school and middle school, the whispers of El Cucuy became faint, like a fading childhood nightmare. But some nightmares, some whispers, refused to be silenced. Every night, lying in my bed, I'd hear the same things. Dogs barking, crickets chirping, cars passing by. Oftentimes, I'd try to stay awake, hoping to get a glimpse of El Cucuy. Hoping, maybe, just maybe, the boogeyman was real, and he'd punish those who deserve it. Years went by, and I kept adding names to my journal. More bullies, more names. Sometimes, I'd talk to my journal, as if El Cucuy could hear me. "Why aren't you coming?" I'd ask. "Aren't you supposed to scare them? To get rid of them?" But of course, the room stayed quiet. One night, something strange happened. I was lying in bed, listening to the usual sounds outside. Then, there was this weird noise, like a whisper. I sat up, listening. Was it the boogeyman? The sound stopped suddenly. I waited, holding my breath, but only silence followed. My eyes grew heavy, and without realizing it, I slipped into a deep sleep. That same night, I had a nightmare, disturbing and vivid. Yet when I woke up, I felt an odd sense of satisfaction. It was a strange, confusing feeling. Like always, I went to school the next day. I found out that Marco, one of the mean bullies, was nowhere to be found. The teacher said he was sick, but deep down, I had a feeling it was more than that. The whisper and creepy dream from before kept playing in my mind. Could it have something to do with El Cucuy? Was it finally reacting to what I wrote in my journal? All these thoughts were bouncing around in my head, making me more and more excited. Days passed. Marco didn't come back. Rumors started. Some kids said he moved away. Others said he got into trouble. I kept wondering. Every night, I'd wait to hear that whisper again. I started to feel different. Every time I wrote a new name in my journal, I wondered if El Cucuy would come for them too. I wasn't just hoping anymore. I was almost sure something would happen. For some strange reason, I felt protected. Invincible, even. It was like a game, a scary one, and I couldn't stop playing. Things started to change in town. The town was buzzing with rumors and fear. Parents were worried. The police started asking questions. Everyone wanted to know what was happening to these kids, but I knew. I had my secret, my connection to El Cucuy. Something unbelievable happened a couple of nights after Marco disappeared. I woke up in the middle of the night. The room was cold, and I felt a presence, like someone was watching me. I turned on the light, and there on my desk, the journal was open. A new name was written there, but not in my handwriting. It was Marco's bully friend, Emilio. My heart skipped a beat. El Cucuy was real, and it was closer than ever. The days became a blur. Each morning, I'd wake up to find out another name from my journal had vanished from town. The whispers at night grew louder, more frequent. I couldn't sleep. I was both scared and thrilled. This was what I wanted, right? But it was getting too real, too close. Then one night, everything changed. I heard the whispers again, louder than ever. I tried to stay awake, but like always, I fell into a deep, heavy sleep. That night, I had the most vivid dream. I was walking through the streets of Patzcuaro, but I wasn't myself. I was something else, something darker. I could feel a power, a hunger inside me. In the dream, I went to Emilio's house. I watched him through the window, my heart pounding with a strange excitement. The next day, Emilio was gone, just like the others. But this time, I felt different. I felt strong. I felt vindicated. A strange sensation began to overtake my body. It started subtly, a tingling in my limbs, a heaviness in my chest. I stood in front of the mirror in my bathroom, the familiar surroundings suddenly feeling alien. Then the transformation began. My reflection twisted, my body contorting into something otherworldly. My eyes glowed a deep, fiery red, piercing through the darkness. I looked in the mirror and saw El Cucuy staring right back at me, the creepy creature from my childhood nightmares, a beautiful but terrifying being made up of all my deepest fears and darkest thoughts. The line between us had blurred, and the truth was undeniable. I am El Cucuy, and I have been all along. I remembered everything. The nights I thought I was asleep, I was awake. I was the one walking the streets, choosing who would be next. It wasn't just a list of bullies anymore. It was a list of my victims. The nights are quiet now. People are still scared, still wondering. All the names in my journal were crossed off. It felt like a chapter is closed. Perhaps I could try to be normal, try to forget, try not to kill anymore. But then, a new jerk showed up in town. One day, he was extorting money from all the younger kids at school. When the kids didn't pay up, he beat them up. I felt this irresistible urge. I reached for my journal and added his name to a new list.